Hey, y'all, I'm Cody. It's time to catch up. Grab your headphones and fill your cup. Sports and life, I've got stories to share. Sit back, relax like you just don't care.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Catch Up Cody Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Cody. We have a special guest today, a reoccurring guest on the channel, Zach from Guys Time with the Brys. Had him on before. He's doing a lot broadcasting, and he does a lot of sports stuff too. So make sure to check out his stuff as well. But how have you been? I know with your broadcasting stuff, you've been posting a lot of content and talking about that stuff, and we do have the NBA and NHL playoffs here. So in a good way, the playoffs are always something cool to watch and everything, and it's always exciting. But on the flip side, it is also the ending of the season. So kind of right in the middle of like, dang, I'm ready for this to happen, but I'm also not ready for it to happen. So, but yeah, how have you been? What's going on in the guys' time with the Brys area?
Yeah, what's up, Cody? First of all, I just want to say thank you again for having me on your podcast, Catching Up with Cody. It's an honor, truly, because obviously the first time we collaborated, it was great stuff. So it's an honor to do another episode and / collaboration with you. And then second of all, everything's good, man. Guys' time, we're just posting content, trying to get more episodes out there. I know I haven't done an episode on my own in a really long time. Just got to figure out a camera issue. I might use Zoom or Riverside, whatever the case may be, but I need to send out some more episodes. But besides that, content's great. Try to post a lot of videos, especially with these playoffs right now, man. I mean, you got the NBA playoffs, you got the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, and those have been absolute chaos all around. But yeah, everything's good. Broadcasting, we got a couple gigs coming up within the next couple months, so that's really exciting. I look forward to doing that. And everything else is good, man. Life is good. I can't complain, and I hope all is well with you, my friend.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's get into it with the NHL playoffs. Unfortunately, I have not paid attention as much as I wanted to with these ones. Obviously due to the NBA playoffs happening and the Pistons being the number one seed. I don't know how much you've been, following and looking at stuff, but there's been some good games. I think, just quickly glancing at it, I've seen a couple 1-1 series and a lot of close scores. So, how much have you been paying attention to, and who do you kind of see coming out of the, each round and everything and possibly winning the whole Stanley Cup?
Yeah, well, ever since it started last Saturday, I've been watching the Stanley Cup playoffs any moment I can get. Or, you pay attention a little more than others. And then, obviously you got to deal with the West Coast too. The West Coast teams, they like to play at like 10:30. And at that point, yeah, I'm getting a little drowsy. I'm not as young as I used to be, right? So, but anyways, we got all these matchups. They've been great. The one I really pay attention to is the Carolina Hurricanes and the Ottawa Senators. Now, Carolina did win last night. They're up 3-0. So Ottawa's in big trouble. But that game, that was crazy. I mean, in terms of the power play, 0 for 9 total between the both teams. 0 for 4 for the Hurricanes, 0 for 5 for the Senators. So obviously, when that happens, how the hell are you going to win games, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs? You can't do that. You have to take advantage of those opportunities, and both teams didn't. Ottawa's in trouble. And, I was actually kind of surprised because Ottawa, going into the playoffs, they were one of the hottest teams in the NHL, a few months ago. There no playoff discussion. You didn't even hear about them. We're talking about end of January, like no Ottawa Senators. Then all of a sudden, after the Winter Olympics, they decided to play their best hockey. Maybe the Detroit Red Wings should take some notes when it comes to that, because obviously 3 straight years now, in March, and the Detroit Red Wings, just not a great relationship there. They play god awful hockey, and as a result, once again, they're out of the playoffs. So maybe they can learn a few things from the Ottawa Senators. So I'm really surprised that they're down 3-0. They were at home last night. They had to win that series, or that game rather. Didn't get the job done. They're down 3-0 against a very good, very talented Carolina Hurricanes team. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. So that's a very interesting That's a very interesting series there. Then you got the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're tied 1-1. So that's been very interesting. That was the first playoff game that went into overtime. So that was interesting. Montreal ended up winning that game. Tampa Bay tied it up. They're actually on, I do believe they're on right now as we're speaking.
Yeah, I was
That's
just gonna
another.
say I just was looking at it. It is currently tied 1-1. It looks like in the first period.
There you go. See, it's very close games as you mentioned earlier, and that's the thing about these Stanley Cup playoffs. You just never know what's going to happen, right? There's no clear cut favorite. Everyone has their picks, but it's anyone's ball game. You got 7 games to prove yourself, and there's been big hits. There's been lots of fighting. I mean, these guys, they want the Stanley Cup. I mean, it's a badge of honor. It's one of the greatest trophies to win. Lots of history behind that. It's been around for over 100 years. So I understand the energy and tenacity and the aggression. But yeah, lots of fights. It's crazy. The crowd loves it. The crowds, I think they're the biggest part about the Stanley Cup playoffs, because the crowd, I know, same with the NBA. The crowd can be a factor in games. It can really mess up some teams. Obviously, the better teams will overcome that. But yeah, the crowd's into it. Like I said, a lot, overtime games, double overtime games. We've seen a couple of those so far. But yeah, lots of fights, lots of hits. It's all about the cup now. But so yeah, the very interesting series there as well. And then even the Vegas Golden Knights and the Utah Mammoth. First time they're in the postseason. So lots of great matchups. Anaheim Ducks in there going up against the Oilers. But yeah, we'll see what's going on. But yeah, all these teams, it's been really, really fun so far.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed, that everything's a close game. The series are close. I think it is kind of cool that the Vegas Golden Knights and the Mammoths are playing each other. I know Vegas has been a team now for what, 5 years, 4 years?
Yeah, their first year was 2017, so 2026. So what? Yeah, 9 years, going on 10 years already. Yeah, no, we were.
Jeez.
I think we were still. I think that's when we started taking classes at Northwood when they became NHL team. Because remember that first year, they went to the Stanley Cup final and they lost to the Capitals. But yeah, crazy, man. They've been around for that long already.
Jeez. Well, then I guess what I was gonna say really doesn't make sense. I was gonna say the 2 new teams, but yeah, 9 years. Holy cow, that goes by. But yeah,
they're the newer teams.
It is kind of cool though to see like the Mammoths. I know this is their first year and they made the playoffs, so who knows? Maybe history can repeat itself and a new team can get in there. But yeah, a lot of close ones going on. I know, like even the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins game. Those 2 teams, it's a dogfight, especially with, I remember when the Sabres were so bad and now being top, it's kind of cool to see over the years, all these teams, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Sabres. Even the Anaheim Ducks used to be not good for a while. So, I think I need to really start paying attention more. I was talking to a couple people, I think it was on another podcast that I was on, about the Edmonton Oilers. And it's like, they've been there for the last 2, and like, it's tough to get there, and to get there twice and lose both times. It's like, this has got to be their year to win it. Like, Connor McDavid deserves one, and it just, I don't know. I would like to see them win. But who do you kind of have in your NHL Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I actually took some notes last night because I know we were going to discuss this. So my finals predictions, perhaps, I know this is kind of a wild card because even this team, I just don't know, because they're a team that they get there, but they just can't get to the finals, right? And obviously I'm talking about the Carolina Hurricanes. Dude, great team. This is a team that should have won maybe like 2 or 3 Stanley Cups by now, but somewhere along the playoffs, they just can't reach the finals. And then obviously they can't they can't win the Stanley Cup. But I think this year, I think they're going to make it. And I think I got them going up against the Colorado Avalanche. That's another team to look out for. They're up 3-0 against the LA Canes, rather. They won last night, so that's always a talented team. They won the Stanley Cup back in 2022, so that could be a possible Stanley Cup final. I have a kind of a wild card too. The Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers, they're up 3-0 against the Penguins, the Battle of Pennsylvania. I got them going up against the Vegas Golden Knights. a team that's always there, right? They're always, close to the Stanley Cup Finals. They won it in 2023. So only 3 years ago. I know it flew by, right? Because you had the Florida Panthers winning back-to-back against the Edmonton Oilers these past couple of years. And obviously they don't make it to the playoffs this year, which is crazy, right? With all the talent on that team. So yeah, I got those teams possibly making it. I mean, I don't know, the Sabres too. And I forgot to mention them because this is their first playoff appearance in 14 years. And they finished with over 100 points too. So they have a very talented team there. And yeah, that's been a dogfight with the Boston Bruins. That's been another good series as well. So yeah, I got Carolina versus Colorado or the Philadelphia Flyers going up against the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Finals. But it's anyone's ball game. It's the Stanley Cup Finals. It's chaos, and I love it.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, the playoffs, like, it doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. You throw all that away, and it's playoff hockey. It's a different time. I mean, you even said it with the fans. Like, I'm a big hockey guy, but like when it comes to the NHL playoffs, it is. I don't know where these fans come from, but these stadiums are packed, and even like you said with the NBA finals, I mean, even with ticket prices and everything through the roof, these places are packed, and it just makes playoff sports so much better. And that's the same thing with baseball as well. But you were kind of saying that you had the Flyers going all the way. Do you think, kind of going off with the Penguins, do you think Crosby's, years are numbered, or do you think he's still got some time? I know between him, I believe, I don't know if it's official yet, but is Ovechkin coming back next year as well? Like, are we seeing these old guys kind of, unfortunately, their time is here to hang up the skates, or are these guys going to play for a couple more years and just keep it going?
Yeah, that's a tough question. Obviously with the Ovechkin situation, he really didn't say. It's kind of up in the air at this point. He's damn near 40 years old, man, or I think he is 40 years old. Yeah, so it's just like a great player. Obviously, us growing up watching him as kids, teenagers, young adults, grown men now. I mean, he's been in the league for over 20 years. Yeah, we thought we were
we've
old.
seen all phases. We've seen all phases.
Exactly. Those guys are old as well, but man, I would like to see him win one more and then maybe ride into the sunset, but hockey, it's a physical sport. Lots of damage on the body, and you deliver hits. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna feel the brunt of it as well. And he's getting old. Skating on a hard surface, that's not good for the lower body for so many years. I mean, you're gonna have wear and tear all over your legs, knees, whatever. Your whole lower body is going to be messed up skating on the ice. So, in terms of him retiring, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I would like to say he comes back for one more year. I mean, he's not going to go to another team. There's no way he's going to sign with like whoever. Another. He's staying. He's a Washington Capital for life, right? If he comes back, but we'll see what happens. And then in terms of Sidney Crosby, well, I don't know, man. Your team's down 3-0. It sucks because Battle of Pennsylvania. This is a rivalry game, and you're getting absolutely dominated by a team who barely made it into the wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. So. If they lose out, I don't know. He might be done too. I mean, he's battled some injuries obviously throughout his career. He had concussion problems, around like 2011, 2012. I remember that whole series because he missed like over a year and a half. It was crazy. It was wild. We all thought we would never see Sidney Crosby again, and now here he is, so many years later, still scoring points and still being Sidney Crosby. So. Yeah, those two guys, they've been the faces of the NHL for a very long time. Two talented players. Obviously, two guys who have won Stanley Cups. Sidney Crosby's won 3. Alexander Ovechkin has won 1. So if it is the end for both of them, I mean, if, the Penguins don't beat the Flyers, well, congrats. They both deserve it. They can ride out into the sunset. We got Connor McDavid. We got Nathan McKinnon. We got some new faces to carry the NHL for a while, so it's all good. But yeah, it would be. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if they retire, but we'll see what happens. It's the NHL; these guys live for it. So
yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's got to be with any sport, it's tough to call it a quits after this many years. But before we transition into the next sport here, you did bring up the Red Wings, and unfortunately, this is year number 10 of not making the playoffs. I don't know if they're going for, we win 25 years in a row. I don't know if they're going to go for the other side here, 25 missing. Um,
Yeah, man.
I had a conversation with my dad the other day about because he asked me, he's like, what are we going to do with Iserman? And I think the problem is this team and the upper management. Don't get me wrong, you obviously want a family within the team, but at some point you got to break it up. I mean, I think we have like 5 or 6 old time Red Wings players in the front office. Like, that's cool and everything. These guys are coming back. It'd be cool to win it with these guys, but like, they might be great hockey players. You can't run a team, and not everybody can run a team. So, you know,
Correct.
Iserman, yeah, did he do good in Tampa Bay? Yes. But did he was he handed these players prior to coming into Tampa Bay? Whereas in Detroit, he had to build this team up. And I think there's a lot of changes from upper management and all the way down. I know a lot of people were talking about Larkin maybe getting his captain, you know, I don't really know if it's Larkin. There's some players, don't get me wrong, that, like Todd McClellan said, are just jerseys on the ice. But I see where they're coming from. Like, Larkin, you're that captain, so you need to have these player only meetings. You need to have these like, hey, this is an off day for practice, but like, we're getting in there. We're watching film. We're just skating around. We need to do something. So, and that's tough. He's a young guy. He pretty much has been in the spotlight in Detroit since he's been brought here. But I kind of want to hear your side of things. Like, do you think Eiserman's time here has got to go? Do you think, the ownership is just worried about kind of a rough breakup, I guess you can say, with it being hometown players? Where do you see all this kind of being right now, or where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think Steve Eisenman's going to stay. I think they're not going to get rid of him just because he is Steve Eisenman. He's a Detroit sports icon. I mean, who? How do you replace the guy? Who we're going to get as a general manager now, right? I mean, who's a clear cut favorite to draft players and sign contracts with players and make trades at deadlines, which obviously we did this year, but it didn't work out. It was almost said and done at that point, but that's a different story for another time. But I think Steve Eisman, I think he's going to go on year 8. Unfortunately, I know he gets the brunt of it. I think you have to blame a little bit on the ownership. I mean, Chris Illich, the Illich family, this is your team. This is your dollars. I mean, your old man, God bless his soul, if he was still here, we would be getting the best players. He didn't care how much you paid. We bring him here. And I get there's a salary cap and, obviously a lot of restrictions nowadays. Back then they didn't have that. And maybe that's the reason why we won some Stanley Cups back.
But you got to win money. You got to spend money to make money. So
exactly. Yes. And we talked about that last time on your podcast. So, yeah, I think they're not going to get rid of him. I mean, if they do get rid of him, I won't be surprised, but I will kind of be surprised because it is Steve Eisenman, right? And then if we get rid of him, next question is, and I said this earlier, who are we going to replace him with? Like, who's a great general manager? I can't think of one at the top of my head. Maybe the guy who runs the Florida Panthers. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups. I don't know, but I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. So I think he's going to stay. I think year 8's incoming for Steve Eisenman. A lot of people, there's some people who want to blame the coach, Todd McClellan. I'm not one of those people. There's only so much he can do. He's not playing the game. He has to he gets these guys fired up. He tells them the game plan. Okay, go execute. And as you said earlier, there's a lot of guys out there, and I saw it at the end of the season, just floating around the ice in La La Land, wearing the jersey because
they're almost like just like skating at your like local rink. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, dude, there's no energy. Dude, there was a handful of games, not just 1 or 2 games. There's like a handful of games where they were just like, oh, yeah, okay, here you go. Here's there's the puck. Oh, yeah, there you go. Bye-bye. See you later. Like, hello, dude, you guys, you have a chance to make it to the wild card. Please at least make it to the wild card, right? No, they couldn't even do that. So, yeah, in March and the Red Wings, another year, man. It's just it's frustrating, right? Because you want I believe the NHL is a lot better to watch when the Detroit Red Wings are in the playoffs, right? And I'm not saying that because, I'm from Michigan. I'm a Detroit Red Wings fan, I might be a little biased, right? But in actuality, I mean, this is original 16, lots of history, lots of great players. I mean, Gordie Howe. I mean, come on. Who doesn't know who Gordie Howe is, right? Ted Lindsay, Sid Abel, Alex DeVecchio. Then obviously back in the 80s and 90s, you had Bob Probert, you had Steve Eisenman, you had Joe Kocur, you had Brendan Shanahan, Nicholas Lidstrom, who's probably the greatest defenseman of all time, Henrik Zetterberg, Pavel Datsyuk, Brett Hall. I mean, how many guys did I just name there? At least 10, right? Luke Robitaille. I mean, who else do you want?
We got to bring them into the front office. Join the party.
Might as well, right? You got Chris Draper there, and Chris Draper played for us too. So Kurt Maltby, Darren McCarty, just so many great guys who knew wearing that jersey, it meant something, right? And we had Scotty Bowman for a long time, and he's probably the greatest NHL coach of all time. I mean, he's won countless Stanley Cups with multiple different teams, the Canadians, Penguins, with the Red Wings, obviously. He's phenomenal. Probably the best of all time. So there's so much history there. So when the Red Wings are not in the playoffs, and yeah, sadly enough, we're going on 10 freaking years, man. It makes my head explode, right? It doesn't even make sense. Like, dude, all our lives, when you and I being born, we were spoiled, right? We saw the Red Wings go to the playoffs every single year. It was an automatic lock for this team to be in the playoffs. Now, these past few years, like my entire 20s, they never made it to the playoffs. Isn't that crazy? Because the 2016, I was only 19 last time they make it to the playoffs. So my entire 20s, they have never made it to the playoffs. So it's wild. It's crazy. But yeah, it's just sad times here, man. Like I said, take the C off Dylan Larkin, make him fight for it. I don't know. People are saying, oh, we should trade him. I don't know. At this point, do we got to do, right? Maybe scratch off the hockey town in the middle of the ice because you're not
glad. I am so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah,
I was on the Sports Reel. I don't know if you caught that episode or not, but they were talking like it's not hockey town anymore. Take that right off the ice. And I hate to say it, but I agree.
Yeah.
And
it off the ice.
Honestly, we're a basketball city now. We are a basketball city. So yeah,
I will agree. Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah. It's tough. But I think, like you said, take the C off of Larkin, scratch off Hockey Town. Those are the things that these guys need to see to say, damn, we do suck. Like, and I'm not saying that they have to go in there and win 5 championships in a row, but you go from 25 years straight to now 10 straight not making it. Like, you got to.
It's embarrassing.
Yes, you got to correlate something. Like, you need to, because just Todd McGullin talking to these guys clearly isn't working. And I think he's a good coach too. You can't blame the coach. Like you said, he draws up the plays. He gets these guys to go out there. He can't make these guys skate. If they want to twirl and do figure eights and all this other stuff out on the ice, that's what they're going to do. I mean, there's some coaches that can't coach. This guy can coach. These guys can't skate. Oh, they can skate. They can't play hockey.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's the perfect explanation. Yeah, and it's like at the end of that season too, you just saw like the body language on a lot of these players. It was just like they're just there, right? And that's crazy because they were fighting for a wild card spot. Like, dude, make it to the wild card. So it would give us some faith, right? Look at the Philadelphia Flyers. They're up 3-0 in the series against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they barely squeezed into the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. So I don't know. I think something in that locker room. I don't know if it's between players and coaches, ownership, GM. I don't know, but something after that, the Winter Olympics, something went off. I don't know. But to have that happen 3 straight years, I mean, come on. I mean, there's something going on. And it's always in March. Yep. Like before that, you have to understand something. The end of January, we were a first place team. Crazy, right? First place team, end of January before the Olympics started. But then after the Olympics, going into March, Well, then, we win like 4 games and then lose like 12. And then, we're just dip. We go down, down, down in the points. And then we see teams like the Senators coming out of nowhere. We see the Flyers coming out of nowhere. Boston, mentioned earlier, coming from the Senators, right? Because, like I said, the Senators were one of the highest teams going into the playoffs. Like I said, crazy enough, they're down 3-0 against the Hurricanes. But I don't know, man. It's frustrating, and you know what? I agree with you, man. The Pistons are taking over, and they're playing in the same arena. And I get it, different surfaces, different sports, but Pistons are in the playoffs, back-to-back appearances in the playoffs. So, yeah, something's got to give for the Red Wings. Like I said, it doesn't feel right with them without them in the playoffs. It's a lot better for the NHL for them to be in the playoffs. Having them be an original 6 team, 10 straight years now, no playoffs, that sucks. So whatever happens, man. At this point, I'm ready for anything because I want to see this team make it to the damn playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, you're wearing the jersey. I wish I would have known you were wearing that. I would have threw my Cade Cunningham jersey on.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say, yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. I know we were gonna talk about basketball, maybe give them some hope, give them some good luck for tomorrow. But yeah, next time we'll have to discuss that.
Yeah, well, let's go into the NBA playoffs. These are the playoffs that I've been focusing on more.
For sure.
Obviously, Detroit, we're up or we're tied. Sorry, 1-1. I was super disappointed with game 1. I know we had a week off, and Orlando had I think it was 3 games in 5 days. Why does it take so damn long for us to win at home? So damn long.
It was 11 straight games. Home playoff.
Yeah, I'm
home playoff losses.
Yeah, even last year, you beat the Knicks on the road. That is the toughest place to play, and you're going to win both of those. Detroit, who your fans come out when you have won 14 games or when you win 60 games, and you guys just can't win at home. So I'm finally glad they got that out of the way. I think that's a big weight lifted off their shoulder. But the problem is now we have to win one on the road because we cannot send this to game 7. And this is what I'm worried about. And I kind of said this after game 1 or before the series was that I was okay with dropping 1 in Orlando because it's on the road. It's tough to win on the road. But now that we lost 1 at home, you got to win both in Orlando. And then we got to win this and get the hell out of this series because Orlando is a great team. And, they were the play-in team and they're on a roll. So hopefully tomorrow we can win. I'm glad it's a 1:00 game. Maybe we can, come in, win the game, and they can just relax and get ready for the next one. But all of these series, honestly, these series is the same thing. This is a coin flip on who can win some of these series. Looking at the scores, the Raptors beat the Cavs by 24. Did not see that coming. And then Atlanta sneaks one out against the New York Knicks, 109-108. And Minnesota also beats the Nuggets. So, honestly, any of these teams, besides the Thunder, who are just going to steamroll through Phoenix, any of these guys can make it to this next round. And I definitely do want to talk about this and kind of get your input. With Wemby going down with this concussion, does Portland steal this series? What's your take?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly, man. I mean, you're down your best player. He's a giant. He's a crucial part of that team. When the guy goes down like that, and the team changes, the mindset changes, right? Oh, we don't have our guy. Crap. What the hell are we going to do? What's the game plan now, right? I mean, dude, this is the playoffs, man. We lose, we go home. The Trailblazers, this is their opportunity to beat the Spurs. I mean, Spurs, even when we were kids, or basically most of our lives, this has been a franchise who's been great. I mean, you had Greg Popovich. I mean, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Take this team to the playoffs seemed like every year, right? You had Tim Duncan, you had Manu Ginobili, you had Tony Parker. So many great so much great talent coming out of the San Antonio Spurs. But yeah, now you got the big man out. Portland, I would take advantage of that. I mean, beat the Spurs, and it would be an upset. I mean, I think it would put a lot more eyes on the NBA playoffs, in my opinion, if you beat like a juggernaut like the Spurs. But yeah, with the big man going down, I mean, there is a strong possibility. I don't want to make it the only possibility because just like the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's the NBA playoffs. Anything can happen. But with their number one guy down for the Spurs, opens up opportunities for Portland to sneak past them going on to the second round.
Honestly, like I said, any of these teams can really win this series. Like I said, Thunder are just going to go through. The Lakers and Rockets, a series I was hoping was going to be a little bit better. But obviously with Kevin Durant being injured and everything, that's kind of tough. So, but I guess the big question is, do you think that the Pistons are going to come out of this series, or do you think that this is going to be a one round and done?
Oh, man. I mean, Magic, they got some shooters on that team, man. We got to shut them down, and I think we will be all right. And then game two, you see how it was not just the Cade Cunningham show. He had a supporting cast. It was Cade and company, right? So see how that happens. Everyone's contributing, doing their part. We won the battle of the rebounds. We attacked that glass like it was going out of style, and we won. It's crazy enough, right? When everyone's contributing, when we're getting rebounds, when we're not committing stupid fouls, making our free throw shots, you got more than one guy scoring double-digit points. We
Yep,
win
I was
games.
just gonna say, yeah. When
It's a
more
simple
than one guy
concept, right?
has some points, we can win some
Yeah.
games.
And then compared to that game one, man, it's just like, where was Jalen Duren? Where was Asar Thompson? Where was Tobias Harris? Nowhere to be found. Kay Cunningham's got to throw up damn near 40 points and still lose the game, right? And
Yes.
it was night and day, right? You saw what happened in game one. We saw what happened in game two a couple nights ago. And you see what happens. It's just it's a community thing, right? It's a team sport. Obviously, everyone's got to contribute. If they do that tomorrow against the Orlando Magic in Orlando and go up 2-1, they look pretty good. I think they can squeak one out. I think they can move on to the next round. I'm hoping, because some team from Detroit's got to do something, right? Because we all know the Red Wings aren't doing anything. The Tigers, it's too early to tell. And then obviously the Lions, they're too busy trying to draft some good players, which I actually checked when we went to our commercial break there. We actually got a Derek Moore, our edge rusher from Michigan, Michigan
Nice.
boy. So him and Aiden Hutchinson, Michigan Wolverines. I like that combination, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Detroit, this is your time now. Make it happen. Orlando's a tough team. I get it. They, like I said, that's a very talented team. I think game one we slept on them a little bit, and yeah, we were rested for a while. They were obviously the more fresh team. Playing so many games, like you said, 3 games or 5 games in 3 days, something like that. So they were fresh, right? We were relaxed. Obviously you had Kate Cunningham battling that collapsed lung, about a month ago. So obviously trying to get back into playing shape, tough on him. But then game 2 happened, everything worked out. So yeah, I think they can. If they played how they played in game 2 a couple nights ago, they play like that tomorrow at 1:00. They can definitely squeak out a series win against the Orlando Magic.
Yes, and I agree with that 100%. So I got your prediction from the NHL playoffs for the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm going to ask you this one. Who do you got in the NBA Finals?
All right, so I'll go to my list here on my phone. Yeah, I got a couple of crazy ones. I don't know. You know more basketball than I am, but than I do. But I got Boston versus the Thunder. Perhaps. I mean, the Thunder won it last year, so I mean, maybe possible back to back there. And then I have obviously the Pistons going up against the Spurs, and obviously that's a rematch from over 20 years ago when a lot of people thought we should have won that series. We could have won back to back championships in 2004, 2005, but unfortunately the Spurs were just too much to handle for the Pistons. So those are my 2 picks. Boston, obviously, that's a team that's been good for so many years. I mean, ever since we were kids. I mean, there was a couple down years, but not really, right? This is a storied franchise. So you have that. The Thunder, good team the past couple of years. They won it last year, so obviously that's a choice. Pistons, probably the wild card, I would say, perhaps, out of the 4 teams that I mentioned. And the Spurs, well, they're another good team. So I got Boston versus the OKC Thunder or the Detroit Pistons and the Spurs. So how about you, man? Let me ask you that. Who do you think is the NBA Finals matchup, and who's going to win it all?
So honestly, it is kind of. I'm glad you answered it with Boston versus the Thunder. Obviously, me being a huge Pistons fan, I'm gonna be biased, and I do think it's gonna be Pistons and OKC. Um, but Boston is gonna be that kryptonite. That's the only problem I
Yeah.
have. And obviously, we've already seen our weaknesses against Orlando, and we can't even remotely play like that against Boston. Um,
No,
so
we can't.
as a biased NBA Pistons fan, I'm going with Detroit and OKC, but I will agree with you from an outside fan point of view that Boston versus OKC um, matchup could potentially be the better of the two. So I hate saying it because I really want this to be our year. And I said, I think it was on my podcast or another podcast, like, I just want to see one championship. And I know, like, we were alive when the championships happened back in the day, but like I want to be able to remember like the parade,
Yeah,
the going down there and
for sure.
partying with people. Like I want to be able to see that like firsthand and not be like, "Oh, I was 5 years old when this happened." Like I want to see that at this age. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to get out of this first round and then it's on to the next one. So, but let's get to the big news of the week that happened last night, the NFL draft. I'm going to admit, I went to bed after our pick. So I am not unfortunately, like, I'm a college football fan, but I don't follow it as much as I should be. Um, I
Yeah, it's a lot
obviously,
going on.
yeah, obviously Fernando Mendoza, number one.
Yeah,
I
that was
honestly, I
clear
personally
cut.
think it was cool that he was at home with his family for this. I know a lot of the times
Yeah,
that they're in the green room and hanging out, but like this is a special moment. Like I personally would want to spend it with family and friends over like a bunch of media people, which no offense, are going to send media to his house anyway. So you might as well enjoy it
yeah,
in the comfort of your own home. And as soon as you get drafted,
right.
do your interviews and then sleep in your own bed. You don't have to worry about going to a hotel or anything. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
between that,
Yep.
I was kind of shocked at where Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs went. I feel like they fell a little bit farther than what people were projecting and what I was seeing. So I do want to get your take on that as well. Um,
Yeah,
and then, any surprise picks that you saw, which I think I know what your answer is going to be. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, kind of what was your take on it and everything? How much did you watch? You pay a lot of attention to the draft and stuff like that, which is cool and which is definitely why I wanted to bring you on to talk about it
Yeah.
and everything. But yeah, what was your take on how the Lions drafted? I know you brought up, another pick that we just had. So yeah, what was going through your head during the draft, and yeah, your shock factor of who was drafted. Um, I mean, I'm gonna assume that you were kind of not surprised that Mendoza was number one.
Yeah, no, that was a clear cut decision by the Raiders. And, they signed Kirk Cousins, and I get it, he's more of a mentor at this point. I mean, he's almost 4 years old, man. I mean, how much more
Hey,
can he play?
these
How much?
old guys are killing it, man. These old guys are doing
That's
it.
what I'm saying. Look at Stafford at the season he had, MVP type season. That guy was absolutely phenomenal, and he's almost 40 years old, right? It's like these old guys, they get better with age, I guess. And even when we were kids, Tom Brady got better with age. I mean, he was still winning Super Bowls. Peyton Manning played for a long time. He was getting good. Eli Manning, Philip Rivers. Unfortunately, he never won a Super Bowl, but he had great seasons. I mean, then obviously the age did show, and then it was just like, okay, I think you need to retire, my friend. But anyways, yeah, Fernando Mendoza, obviously that was number one. That was a clear cut favorite to be the number one pick. He's going to be the franchise quarterback. I'm probably going to start, obviously. Kirk Cousins is there as like a mentor, right? So that was cool to see him. And yeah, I agree with you, man. I would have, if I'm getting drafted, I'm in my house with my family, my friends, people that supported me throughout this journey, and people I love and care about. I don't need to sit in some green room in some random city in Pittsburgh or Green Bay. Now in Detroit, that's a different story because that was wild there.
That's
That
true.
was a wild
That's true.
scene there. Yeah, and me and my cousin actually went to the 2024 NFL draft. It was phenomenal, by the way. So yeah, definitely an experience. But yeah, I would if I'm getting drafted, I'm sitting at home with my loved ones and my friends and family at the comfort of my home. So yeah, that was obviously crazy, not surprising, but yeah, it was good to see Fernando Mendoza get drafted number 1, clear cut favorite. I mean, we need an offensive tackle. Blake Miller from Clemson, 4-year starter, started all 4 years. That's a reliable guy. That's a guy that we need on this offensive line to protect Jared Goff. And I've said it numerous times on my podcast. I've said it on this podcast, Catching Up with Cody. I'm telling you, I told everyone the success of the Detroit Lions starts at the offensive line. You need to protect Jared Goff, right? I mean, if we saw it last year, when he doesn't get protection, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say,
He can't.
he sees a guy running at him, he's throwing the ball in the grass.
Yeah, or he's getting sacked and he's getting banged up. It doesn't open room for our running game. So it's like, dude, you have to start at the offensive line. Yeah, I know it's not exciting. It's not a sexy pick. But dude, we need to address positions that need to be addressed. Offensive line was one of them, and they got their guy, Blake Miller. Now, is he going to be an automatic starter? Who knows? But at least it adds some depth, right? Because now we have Cade Mays that we signed, center from the Panthers a couple months ago. Then we got Ben Barch, another offensive lineman that we got from the San Francisco 49ers. Then you got Penny Sewell in there, Christian Mahogany, Tate Ratliff, who we drafted last year. Because we got, Taylor Decker's gone. Graham Glasgow, we released him. And then Frank Ragnow, probably our best offensive lineman, he retired. And he tried to come back last year and tore his hamstring. So it didn't work out too well. So these are the missing pieces we need to have a successful season. You fix the offensive line, we fix everything else. And then like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we got Derek Moore, edge rusher from Michigan. So it addresses another issue. We need another edge rusher because Aiden Hutchinson can't get to the quarterback by himself all the time when he's getting double teamed and triple teamed, right? So that helps out a lot. Add some depth at that position as well. But it's great to get all these guys, but we have to see it in action, right? How's this going to help when the season starts? Is this offensive line going to battle injury issues that we've been dealing with the past couple of years again? Our defense getting absolutely destroyed with injuries again. I mean, I don't know, man. I really hope not. But look at these other teams that were hurt. They made it to the playoffs. Patriots and the Seahawks, 2 Super Bowl teams. They had guys banged up. They went to the freaking Super Bowl. So I don't want to hear the excuses of injuries. I mean, I get it. They're part of the sport, but you got to overcome that. And I think year 6, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, they got to figure something out. But Blake Miller, that's a thumbs up. I like that pick really, really much.
Nice. So overall, what do you give the Detroit Lions, grade wise, so far, what they've been doing through a day and a half?
You know what? I'm going to be a little, I won't be too excited. I'm going to give them a B. I'm going to give them a B because I think A+, I'm just, I'm a Detroit Lions fanboy or, I'm obsessed with the Detroit Lions. Like, no, we're being honest here, right? B grade. I think, they address the offensive line with Blake Miller from Clemson. Like I said, reliable guy, started all 4 years. He's quick. Obviously, there's going to be some issues, transitioning from college to the NFL. Trust me, it's a whole different ball game, right? So
yes.
He's got to learn that. But I like that pick, right? And then you got the edge rusher that we got, Derek Moore from Michigan. Obviously, he was a stud at Michigan, but now he's transferring to the NFL. It's going to be a completely different ball game. But again, another position that we address. So Brad Holmes, not bad. You did your job, right? He knows how to recruit talent, but now can this talent show up and can we win games? I mean, he drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. And I'll be honest, when he got drafted, I wasn't excited about it. Well, shame on me because that guy is one of the top running backs in the game today. So you have that going on. He drafted Sam Laporta, one of the top tight ends in the game today. Brian Branch, he's a stud as a defensive back. So Brad Holmes has an eye for talent, but now does that equate to success this season? And I'll throw it out there right now. It's Super Bowl or bust for the Detroit Lions. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me, a psycho, or you're taking too many drugs. I don't care. The Lions need to win the Super Bowl, man. You were this close a few years ago. You've dipped since then. You didn't make it to the playoffs this year. You lost in the divisional round a couple years ago to a rookie quarterback, Jane Daniels, by the way, to the Washington Commanders at home. Embarrassing game there. And then obviously the NFC Championship game. We won't discuss it because we already know what happened there. But you were this close. So now it's like it's time. It's time to get this group together. Let's go to the Super Bowl and win this bad boy. Let's bring some pride to the city of Detroit.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because I'm going to piggyback off of it. Unfortunately, after that NFC North or NFC game, when we just completely fell apart, I was telling everybody,
championship game.
Yes, I was telling everybody our window was 2 to 3 years, and we're at that mark. I hate to say it, but you can't build a dynasty or a multiple championship team, like a multiple successful team, the way we're doing it. You're already regressing, and we have nothing to show for it. We have we made the playoffs, 2 or 3 years in a row, but that's not. Teams do that all the time.
Yeah.
And like I said, and we've talked about it before, Detroit, the city of Detroit is not looking for 4, 5, 6 rings in a row. We're looking for one championship. We're looking for consistent success. We're looking for, teams and ownerships and coaches that want to win and want a future with these Detroit teams, whether it's the Pistons, the Red Wings, the Lions, anybody. We want just consistency. Yeah, we're a city of sports, and our sports teams are not showing it. Obviously, this year the Pistons are showing it. The Tigers are showing at least some sort of success. So we're getting there.
Yeah.
But I unfortunately think our window is closing. And we're unfortunately going back to the same old Lions, and that's sad to say.
Man, I don't know. I think, same old lines. I mean, I don't know. It's like we're just, I don't know. We're like a weird team, man. I mean, dude, for most of our lives, the Detroit Lions have been awful. I mean, just god awful, right? I mean, yes, we've had some great moments. We've had some great players, right? Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of people who don't like him. You know what? He did what he had to do with what he was given. We didn't help him out. We didn't give him a good offensive line. You had Calvin Johnson for so many years until he decided to retire because he was getting banged up, right?
Yep.
You didn't help him out at all. So I don't want to hear the Matthew Stafford. No. It's like one guy can't make a franchise, right? It's a whole team.
No.
But most of our lives, this team has been awful, god awful.
Yes.
But now we've seen some, glimpse of success, like the NFC Championship game. Still have nightmares about it, right? Because we were up by 17 points at halftime, and then we blew it. So, it was bad, man. But you know what? I think Lions, I don't know, man. This is I can't really predict how they're going to do this year. I think this is a mystery team. I want to say maybe after the first 8 games, you can talk to me because obviously they play 17 games now. Talk to me after about 8 games. See where this team's going. But like you said earlier, man, just one championship. I don't care if it's a Stanley Cup. I don't care if it's a World Series, the Lombardi Trophy, NFL championship, or an NBA championship. I don't care. Just bring one championship home because obviously these boys, the Michigan Wolverines, they know how to win a championship. The basketball team winning a championship a month ago. So that was nice to see. The colleges can do it. The pros, got to step it up a little bit. But yeah, the draft's been good though, and that's been very interesting. A lot of Ohio State Buckeyes being drafted in the first round. I think that you asked one of those questions about what shocked you the most. Am I really shocked though? I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, that was a lot of talent coming out of Ohio State, right? But we're Michigan guys. We don't like Ohio State, but you gotta give them credit. They produce a lot of talent, and we saw in the first round of the draft there was like 3-4 guys drafted, and then you mentioned Sonny Styles dropping to the Washington Commanders, which was kind of crazy, and then Dallas got their safety, Caleb Downs, and he's top safety in the draft.
I was really hoping Detroit got him. I was like, it's getting closer and closer. I'm like,
yeah, that would have been crazy. That would have been a very interesting secondary if we got him. Because obviously Kirby Joseph, you got Terry and Arnold, obviously having some issues. I know he doesn't play safety, but he's part of that group, right? Yeah. Brian Branch, does he come back from that torn Achilles rather? Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I mean, that would have been cool. That would have been a very interesting secondary if we got him. But yeah, Caleb Downs going to Dallas. But yeah, lots of Ohio State Buckeyes being drafted in the first round. I think that was my biggest shock, or one of my biggest shock. My biggest shock, though, you probably know what I'm going to say. Ty Simpson getting drafted. Yeah, the Rams. See, I knew you knew it, man. I knew it. But yeah, that was like, I mean, I get it. Stafford's getting old, and Sean McVay, those guys they're buddies. I get it, but it's just like, you got to look forward to the future, man. I mean, Stafford's not going to play forever. I get it. He won your Super Bowl a few years ago. Great. And he deserved it. But he's getting older. And he had a great season last year. So it's like, I don't know. Like the Rams, they got their guy. But, you drafted a quarterback. I don't know, man. That's weird. That is a weird situation. Like Stafford had an MVP type season, and then you draft Ty Simpson, who he did well in college. I mean, you see the highlights, right? But yeah, that was definitely a big shock. I think everyone on social media they were losing their minds about it. But I saw that and I was just like, interesting. So yeah, obviously,
and that was kind of what I was shocked too. Like, no offense to Ty Simpson, but like, I feel like you can get that guy early second round, just because of like it's not a deep quarterback draft class.
No,
I mean the dude can play. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there was other players you could have drafted and then get Ty Simpson in order for like the future. But he's not starting this year. He might not even play this year. Yeah, maybe toward the end, like when they make it, if they get into the playoffs, But I feel like you wasted a pick to a certain extent. I get it. You're trying to look for your future and stuff. And what I thought was really weird is as soon as they drafted Ty Simpson, I was watching the Pat McAfee part of the draft and everything, but they kept saying like, "Oh, Matthew Stafford knew about this. Matthew Stafford knew about this." Like, why is it that big of a because the whole Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love thing? Like, eventually these guys got to realize that they're old. They got to have a backup quarterback in general. I mean, every team has a backup quarterback.
Every team has a backup. So you got to have a franchise quarterback, and you got to get ready for the future too.
Exactly. And no offense. It's not going to be a quarterback battle between Matthew Stafford and Ty Simpson. The guy can play football, but he's not going to beat Matthew Stafford out of a job. So that I kind of thought was weird that they kind of really, honed in on it of Stafford's okay with this. Sean McVay made sure Stafford was okay. Like, dude, okay, Stafford, you're going to play for another 3 or 4 years. Like, what are you worried about? Ty Simpson's going to be like 27 by the time he even plays anyway. So people needed to relax on that part, but yeah, I feel like Ty Simpson, you can get him early second round, or any quarterback in general, you can get early second round. So who knows? Maybe they feel like their team is, set, and that was their need. But I mean, with what was it, the 13th pick, I believe they had.
Yeah, it was in the double digits. I can't remember. But yeah, 13th or 14th.
Yeah, with the 13th pick, I'm going out there and I'm getting a player that I know is going to be playing, whether it's this year or next year, like a player that is really going to be playing, not 4 or 5 years down the line. Sean McVay might not even be there. So it's like, okay, now you're kind of like, you're playing with the hand you're dealt, but okay, Sean McVay, if you guys have 2 bad years or Matthew Stafford leaves, or retires, like, okay, is ownership like, okay, McVay, Stafford's gone, so let's restart? Like, there's a lot of questions with
Yeah,
that pick. And again, I mean, good guy to learn under with Matthew Stafford, but
for sure.
you wasted the 13th overall pick.
Yeah, and then that's the thing too. Is just like, yeah, you drafted him. Okay, you're already telling Stafford, hey, we're
Yeah,
looking
we
for
got the
we're
we
looking
got the
for some.
plans ready.
Yeah, exactly, right. But then if Stafford goes out there and has another MVP type season, it was just like, well, that was kind of a waste, right? That was a kind of waste of a pick. But I don't know, it was crazy. Another pick that kind of surprised me a little bit was Jeremiah Love going at number 3 for the Cardinals, because the Cardinals,
I'm
they're
glad
loaded
you
with running backs.
I'm glad you brought that up because
James Conner.
I did see
Yeah,
something today.
yeah, just crazy.
Yeah, that there's like well, now including Jeremiah Love, there's like 4 good quarterbacks or running backs, sorry, that are on this team. It's like what
Yeah,
do you get? And no offense, who's their quarterback? Is it
I
Jacoby
couldn't.
Brissett?
I couldn't even tell you. It might be. It might be because Kyler Murray is with Minnesota now. Yeah,
So
that's a team that I
you
couldn't
don't
even
have a
tell you the
quarterback to
quarterback.
hand off to Jeremiah Love.
No, yeah, and your offensive line is absolute garbage too. Um, but yeah, I think they picked. Jeremiah Love to sell tickets. Right, the Arizona Cardinals has been a team that's hasn't been anything since they went to the Super Bowl damn near 20 years ago with Kurt Warner, old man Kurt Warner. And I root for that team too, because I would like to see Kurt Warner win another Super Bowl. But obviously that's another discussion for another time. But yeah, you get Jeremiah Love. You already have James Conner, Tyler Algier, Trey Benson. You have all these guys, and then you add another running back. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not, I know I'm no pro scout, but I don't know. That was kind of a questionable pick too. So that kind of surprised me. I get it. He was the number 1 running back prospect in the draft, but
But you
did the
didn't need
Cardinals
him.
really need him? The NFL draft, man. Yeah, it was kind of nuts. Yeah, some big names here and there. But yeah, it just seemed like this draft too, compared to other years. Outside of Fernando Mendoza, Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, obviously, Carnell Tate, wide receiver, obviously from Ohio State, went to the Titans. Not a lot of big names. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Um, years past, but there was a handful of guys I knew, obviously watching college football, but it was just like other guys, I don't know. And then I was flipping back and forth between the draft and the Stanley Cup Finals last night. I was just waiting for our pick, and then once I saw our pick, I was like, all right, I can continue watching the Stanley Cup Finals. These are more exciting than the draft.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
but yeah, it was it was an interesting draft, interesting first night. Obviously, the second round is going on right now. But yeah, overall, like I said, I think the Lions did good. B rating, or B grade, I should say. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, put all these pieces together, stay healthy. Gotta win some games. Gotta go to the Super Bowl and get the job done.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely want to get you on again toward the later rounds for both NBA and NHL, and kind of see if our predictions were right. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
get you on before and during the NBA Finals and NHL Stanley Cup. But any last minute things you want to chat about, and then plug your stuff and tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah, no, man. As I say, it's been an honor once again being on coaching, catching up with Cody, man. It was fun. We got a lot. We talked about a lot. Yeah, it was great. Like I said, lots to talk about. Stanley Cup final, or Stanley Cup playoffs, rather. Been exciting. The NBA playoffs. Anyone's ball game there. We didn't really touch about the touch base on the Tigers. Maybe that's a discussion for another time. They're with the Cincinnati Reds this weekend. 3-game series there. Cincinnati, good team. So hopefully we can win 2 out of 3 there, and we'll be looking good, especially after that walk-off win yesterday. Spencer Torkelson with his first career walk-off home run. Crazy enough. So took 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. They're usually a good team. And then the NFL draft, lots of surprises. Lions did their job addressing key issues that we need to address when it comes to the offensive line and the edge rusher to help out Aiden Hutchinson and the rest of our defensive linemen. But yeah, everything, it was a good episode. Like I said, thank you for having me on. And then you guys can check me out, Guys Time with the Brys. I'm on Instagram. Give me a follow. I'm on YouTube. All my episodes are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm out there. Just type in Guys Time with the Brys, and I will be out there. But yeah, it was fun being back on catching up with Cody, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I will definitely, like I said, I'll have you on again soon. I do want to get you on the new series that I'm doing, the NBA talk on Monday nights. I actually have Sports Reel coming on Monday. So excited to have them on, but I will definitely reach out to you and get you on one of these Monday night series. So thank you again for coming on. Everybody, please give Guys Time with the Brys, Zach, a follow. He's got some good content. I mean, I've definitely looked up to him in the content and kind of, with what he's doing, with the broadcast stuff. Hopefully I'll hear you on some main networks here pretty soon. So, but yeah, thank you for coming on, and we will definitely be in touch, and we'll have you on toward for sure more with this playoffs, because like we said, it's a good time and a bad time to be a sports fan right now.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I was gonna say, I'll be waiting for the text and phone call, man. I appreciate.
Hey, y'all, I'm Cody. It's time to catch up. Grab your headphones and fill your cup. Sports and life, I got stories to share. Sit back, relax like you just don't care.